we've got Michael Sherlock back. Yep, that's that ex-cop that's prepared to talk to us all about every detail. Hey, this week we got a guy called Andrew Sheldon, who's actually been asking some good questions. He's an ex-cop himself, but it sounds like based in Australia. But certainly he's asked some good questions. So welcome, Michael. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Hey, so the quick fire questions, you've seen the questions as well. So what he asked first off is political interference of the police force. Did you ever feel that?
Politically, no. That what they would do, we ran off a thing called primed. So they stood for a lot of words, and then what happened if you didn't fit that mold, you could be in trouble through the police. So putting things on social media, saying things out, like especially in social media or out in the public that didn't fit that mold. So like professional, respect, integrity. These are what they all sort of stood for. I can go through them all, but that was what, if you had to say politically, would control me. This word controlled me in regards to how, when I had the uniform on, even when I had the uniform off, being able to say what I wanted to was very not.
Well, we know difficult. You weren't able to come here and speak to me, frankly, and you honoured that, and that's what most organisations and large corporates would say the same to their staff. So, I mean, we both respected that.
Yeah, it doesn't fit the primed model.
And the other thing, Michael, to be frank, this is too hard a question for you at your constable level.
Yeah.
Whereas you go to up the ranks, and there may be interference, but you probably wouldn't know about it.
No, I would say the higher the rank you hold, the more, again, you fall under this primed. You consumed by this word, the primed, just because, again, you'll get dragged through the media. You're a higher rank, you'll just get dragged through the media, and the police will drag you through the mud as well.
But the question is, obviously, is the minister interfering with day-to-day tasks of the police? And look, that's not a place for constables probably to answer.
No.
Because you would get that. If there was any interference, it'll be transferred into local policy, and you would obey that.
Yeah, of course.
You would. Hey, look, the next question is, how prepared were you from the training? Because you do intensive training. A bit of explain to the viewers how much training you go through.
So it takes 9 months to get into the police, but there's a series bit of training before that anyway to get to the college. College is 4 months.
4 months at college.
4 months of college.
So you're going to be away from home in a dedicated area.
Yeah, it's sort of changing a bit now, especially with COVID and everything like that. They're starting to do some bits where you can. I know, especially in Auckland, it's you go to a station and you do it there, and then you go home. Sorry, and then. But when I went to the college in Wellington...
I'm still a little confused. So you said there's college of 4 months.
Yep.
Now, before that, you said there was some more training before that.
Yeah, so before you join the police, they have like a little bit of a uni assignment that you've got to complete. It's not too difficult. It's very basic, but it's something that they just want to get the underlying things through to you, especially like this primed, all this sort of very small stuff, but very things
just
that
the basics.
They want you to know.
But you get the real skills at the training. Now, to answer his question, how prepared did you feel when you actually went out into the public? I mean, you did a lot of intensive work, face-to-face, hard battle stuff.
Yeah. When you come out of college, they give you the basic baseline training. They can't fill you with the training from the outside world. You've got to go out and feel the experience yourself. They can only give you a very sheltered version of it because they're not going to just throw real people at you.
Do you think they did what they had to do? I mean, that's really what Andrew's question is. Do you think that they took you as far as they could before you actually went into that real stuff?
They would really go ahead and try to like even have actors come in and try to like act appropriately, so to try and throw you off your guard and stuff like that, for like scenarios and things like that. I think the training at college is good. Of course, there could be more. Like you can always think about doing more, but what they do in the limited amount of time that they get you with you at college for 4 months is a good standard, because it
sounds intensive. 4 months of dedicated time. That's a third of a year sitting in a classroom, and you were doing practical stuff as well, weren't you?
So how it's sort of cut up is the first 2 months, or the first about around the first 2 months is cut up into book work with small bits and bobs in regards to.
So you're learning the legislation, the law, and all that.
A lot of it was legislation based, law based, everything like that. And then at the end of that, you do a test to see how well you can retain all that that knowledge, and then from there you move on to the practical stuff, which is 2 weeks of firearms, 2 weeks of driving. If I had to now say anything, would be that the training could be better in regards to more time on with the firearms nowadays, because like we know, more shootings, they're going to be used more.
Well, I want to talk to you later about knifings, but certainly shootings. You and I haven't touched on it, but you've been pretty close to an actual shooting. So let's get onto that later on. But getting back to it, overall, you think the training was adequate?
For what they can give you in the small amount of time, yes. Trust me, I wish I could do once a week, have a quick an hour catch up on my training, but that's just not feasibly possible. They try to fill it in as much as they can, but again, police are forever moving. It's reactive, it's proactive. You've got to be moving all the time. It's no time to sit back and go, oh, let's do some training. They try to, maybe like every 6 weeks, they try to give you a day of training, but it's, again, very hit or miss if that can fall through.
All right, well, the next question is the police union. Now, the police union used to have a very high profile. Yeah. We used to almost sense in the public that the police union was actually the spokesperson for the police. And they were quite often, because we wouldn't hear from police, but that maybe has changed. Now, the question really was the police union helpful to you, and did you find them as a means to go to them to get assistance if needed?
I've never had to use the police union myself. That's when it comes down to when you're not in trouble, but there's something where you could be held accountable for, or you put your credibility on the line. So you need to have like the union get involved. It's like any other union, really. They do good stuff in regards to trying to keep you in line, because the police sometimes do run over you, like I sort of was getting into last week, in regards to you're sort of guilty until proven innocent. So they try to change that back for you. So I know the number, you call the number, and the first thing that comes over the line is, if you've been in a critical incident in the please call this number that they give you on the voice message straight away, because you need to be spoken to straight away. Unless something else you need to speak to, just hold the line, sort of thing. Yeah. So it's there and it's good. I've heard some ups and downs about them through a couple of people, through a couple of police officers. Mm-hmm. But again, unions can only go so far and help you so much. I don't know,
Andrew. For your question, I'm actually in a better place to answer this quite well, because I mean, my role during the day is employment relations. I deal with employment law, and many a police person have been through these ranks, and that's not how I got to know Michael. Michael and I are just friends. But what I've got to say to you is, quite often there is a lot of complaining. And when the people get no action out of the police union, they come to me. But you can already hear it. I've actually had quite a few. But there are also a lot of needy people in the police, and I put it down to institutionalised. So I find that some of the people are fairly spoilt in the police force. They get good services and support, and then their expectations of more and more and more is higher. Wait till they get to the private side. But look, overall, I could see that they did some work, but there are areas that they are a bit weak on.
Oh yeah, I don't know how well in regards to. Yeah, I think they could. At the first instance, they do very well. At when they turn up and they tell you, and it's cut off from the very start. But then I think they sort of not struggle, but I think there's areas of lapse in regards to later on stuff, like when we get further into the problem. But again, they're not all lawyers. They're not all.
Now, Michael, Andrew's final question is this, and it is, we've answered this to some degree in a previous episode we've done, but how efficient are the police? So what he's asking, because every election time, this is where his question goes further, every election time we see there should be more resources, more resources, more resources. Yep. So what he's asking is, with the resources they got, are they effective and efficient enough?
Yes, I think their police are effective with what they get. Arguably, when election time comes, they're always yelling more resources, more resources. It's because it literally is that there's more and more crime getting sped up. They need more. The police are always one step behind, I find. We're never in front of crime. So that's why it's always one. We need more, we need more, we need more. To the amount we've got, I would say that we are effective. I agree, some things get lost in regards to what Chloe Shorbick was saying in regards to that the Northland cannabis stuff. That's not where the resources should go. But that's like any business. Any business sort of leaks resources from time to time. But from what we've got, I believe that they're doing the right stuff, but they do leak from time to time.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you could criticise. I mean, when COVID was coming on, police were required to do a lot of work, standing by hotel rooms for days upon weeks, months, in fact. And they lost police out of that because they just couldn't handle it.
Arguably weren't me. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to ask you that big question.
Yeah.
Elephant in the room, why have you left? But look, let's get back to that another day. You and I've got lots to talk about. But the efficiency of it. Now, you told me the other day that you spent a significant, it just blew me away how much time you do on paperwork.
Yeah, 70%.
Where I think there could be more efficiencies in that regard, and it needs the Department of Justice to do that. But that's not your area. You're a constable.
Yeah.
So you're reporting on it. So overall, from your perspective, you would say it's not badly utilised for the resources you had.
For the resources that we're given, especially now they've moved on to the technological side with the phones and everything like that. Our resources are getting a lot better so that we can do a lot more work efficiently. But again, there's always room for improvement. But I think right now it's at a good level. There can be some tweaks, but that's getting into the nitty-gritty of it, really.
Andrew Sheldon, we got to thank you, don't we, Michael? In terms of that, we really appreciated your questions. And folks out there, you're out there listening and got some questions for Michael, don't hesitate to put them in, because you'll get priority like Andrew did. And Andrew, come back with more, because it was a very searching questions. And I think Michael's answered to his best of his ability. But remember, he was only a constable. He wasn't at those dizzy heights.
Yeah.
And we may be able to get some people here one day. Imagine you interrogating the highest ranking officer in the police force.
Again, they probably wouldn't because of primed, but we can give them a try.
Look, there's a big thing that worried me a couple of weeks ago. You talked about, and you just dropped in the conversation casually.
Yeah.
I mean, you did see some frontline stuff. You're in the middle of Auckland. There's gangs here. There's horrific crime all around Auckland. And you went out west for a period of time, which is renowned even worse. Yeah. But you've been 2 attempts at you to stab you. That is huge. And look, Michael, it's almost daily now we're seeing stabbings. I think it is daily.
Yeah. So the article we read together, something that did jump out to me is, yes, there's daily stabbings, but something that they don't really tell you on the DHB list, and they put this in a very fine print because they try to scare you on the top of it, but a lot of it is self-harm.
So it's not a stabbing, it's self-harm.
So they when they go into a hospital, they've got to put it down as something, and because it's a knife wound, they've put it down as like a stabbing.
Oh, okay.
But still, there's a lot of knife crime or knife problems. Well,
that's what we read in the paper about. I mean, we hear about nightclubs. There was one, I think, in Queen Street last night, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Some guy got a knife wound. There was a big fight, and then suddenly a knife's produced.
Yeah.
What's happening here?
Knives are always being used as a deterrent or to try and keep you safe. I was going to say the knife crime in England is a lot worse to what we know here, but it's used as a deterrent. I think guns are becoming more of the problem, but now people are going to start trying to defend themselves. So what are they going to do? They're going to grab the next best thing, which is a knife. So again, you shouldn't bring a knife to a gunfight, the grand old saying. But I think people are trying to, in that sort of areas, that sort of underworld side, trying to protect themselves. If they can't get a gun, they get a knife.
Well, that's a very big point. Look, I can tell from personal experience. When I was 15 at school, this upsets me. I was beaten pretty badly by a 35-year-old man in the street in front of his sons, and my head was smashed. I was pulled out of the car window by my hair. And then my head smashed on the concrete again. And he said to his sons, "Get the rope, we're towing this guy behind the car." Now, I heard that, but made out I was dead. But by God, that upsets me. But I took a knife to school for the end of my days. I just kept a pocket knife because I was scared that I was going to get attacked again. I never told my parents or anybody. There's a few of my friends out there saw this happen and saw me go through this. But anyway, I'm flush with... But that's what I've got to say. I do understand why people are carrying knives. They don't feel safe. And they want to go out for a party. They can't without thinking, I need to protect myself if I get in that situation.
Yeah, I think that's what it's strictly why people carry knives is protection based. It's not to be against it or use it. It's just for protection. There's a lot of good old sayings. Is that if you're going to if you're going to hold a knife, don't be scared of the consequences that come with it, because you've bought it. You've got to
Michael,
own the consequences.
I've explained why I think people are carrying knives, because they feel vulnerable and they're going to get done over.
Yeah.
What's your advice to them?
Don't carry a knife. It escalates the problem tenfold. It, like anything, you are in a street fight and then the knife either falls out your pocket, falls out your jaw strap or something, and it falls on the ground. Escalates the problem tenfold. Someone pulls it out in a fight, escalates the problem.
So I do know that there are alternatives out there. So what you can get are sprays that you can spray into someone's face, and there are little beep things, aren't they? Like puts a high siren out, which will actually deter people.
Yeah.
I'm told if you're under attack, scream and scream and scream again, because the fact that you're bringing attention to the situation could help you.
Yeah, like anything. Sometimes I've heard this a couple of times. Don't scream help, scream fire. Because people come to help you from a fire. Sometimes they don't want to help you when you're in trouble. I've heard that one. But yeah, like anything, in my opinion, if anything ever gets to that point where it's heated and you just don't know, you need to redirect, get out. Or try it and stay above the situation. Don't get involved, don't get heated, don't start the fight or stay in the fight. And if you're in a fight, first thing you do is cover your head. It doesn't matter. Everything else can do everything else, but the police used to call it your computer. If you need to cover your computer, because if you cover this, if someone kicks me here, I'm done, because I lose it. But if I can cover this, that's what I can say.
I got to say that was a natural instinct.
Yeah.
When I went down, I actually tried to cover my head, but I was getting smashed. My face was on the concrete.
Yeah.
But that situation really does alarm a lot of people. And older people, if you're out there, I remember my best friend's father's telling me, it's the Marquess of Queensberry, don't back down from a fight ever, Max. And it was one-on-one in those days. And like you weren't a man unless you fronted up and did it. But the other factor is today, it doesn't work that way. If you're in a fight, people are going to get in and kick the shit out of you until you're near dead. But
yeah,
it's the trouble.
I hate this saying. I hate that. You're a man if you back out of a fight. You're not a man. You're not a man if you start a fight, because you can't control your emotions. That's what I think. If you're a man that can control his emotions and do the proper thing, then you're more of a man than the other one that has to lose his emotions and start a fight.
Well, the other way too is it's a bully. It's either you're a bully or you're somebody who's out of control.
Yeah, that's how I see it. Is that if you have to succumb to your emotions and start the fight, then you're the one who's losing at the very start.
And a lot of people command by fear, and of course that's how the gangs are. And we've had these discussions before, and that fear factor means those gang leaders have got to actually act upon their legend. And that is, they probably do need to bash someone up occasionally to show that they actually mean it and will do it themselves.
Yeah, you rule by fear. Like everybody, if you look at the biggest dictators and stuff like that, everybody ruled by fear, because that's the way to control people. But then if you get enough people on one side that overcome that fear, you will beat that person.
And look, folks, if you're in a gang and you've got a leader that rules by fear, just remember, they'll pick on somebody on the inside just to give a hiding occasionally to get your fear. So you could be that person next time. So don't get involved. Stay at distance. Keep away from them. End up like Michael. He got in his own gang, the police. And look at him now. Good bloke.
But yeah, no, I think knife crime, in New Zealand, knife crime it's there, but I don't think it's getting any worse. The side that we need to worry about is definitely firearms. I remember reading that article as well in regards to where the knife trauma is. Most of it was around the neck and face area, this part. So above this sort of area was 70% of the was where the wounds were. It's kind of a weird place, because we're in a fight. Normally, if you were going to fight, you would get them sort of in the torso or the arm or the leg. Face is quite a substantial thing to wound.
It's weird, isn't it? Because when I was living in Scotland, I lived up in Glasgow for a while. And what happened there, they used to use razor blades and go past these guys on a push bike would go down the road, go past a bus stop where there's always people congregating, and get their razor blade out as they went past and
Swipe
slash
you.
your face. You know, it's a face every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
But that was to make you ugly.
Yeah, maim
Maybe
you.
these-
Yeah, but that's a different thing entirely. But I don't know if it's a thing that's going around that people want to get maimed and stuff, like wanting to maim people and things. I know that's big it's a very big thing in England, maiming people. But like they have a very big thing on acid attacks. Thank God that's not here.
You shouldn't have mentioned it because that's
Yeah, thank God that's not here, or it's very little here. But yeah, it just took me by surprise that a good 70% of the knife attacks are to the face. Well, you would think when you when you see films and everything like that, knife wounds are normally to the central part of your body rather than the facial part. But yeah, that one just threw me
the
off
face
guard.
does bleed a lot more than other parts of the body, I
Yeah,
believe.
yeah.
Maybe that's it. All right, Michael, anything else you want to cover today, or what are we doing next week?
Well, I
I think
think
we put you on the spot, didn't I?
yeah, you really put me on the spot there. It was like, but anything, like I said, any sort of questions you want to talk to me about, any experiences I've had, you can definitely talk to me about them. I will tell you to the best of my ability. I can't really speak about all of them, but yeah, like you wanted to know about the stabbing ones and all this, I could speak about them. But yeah, if you want to listen to some experiences, what it's really like to be frontline police, then yeah.
There's two big questions we still need to answer. One, why did you leave? And two, and don't answer them now. And it's the other one is that story. That story
The
that
big
you've
story.
told me, and
Yeah.
we haven't used it yet, and I don't know if I want to go there yet. I want to talk to you off camera
Yeah.
first to see if you want to take us there, because it's will be hard for you.
Yeah.
All right, folks, this is our Michael, and he's back, the cop that talks.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the ex-cop.